Welcome to Make Your Mark podcast, where guests share their experiences, insights, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And I will be your host, Suthar. Oh my goodness, guys, I have such an awesome guest for us today. So his name is Tom Mays. He's a self-taught serial entrepreneur. He has built and been a part of several successful businesses and currently building 4 companies. Tom is passionate about continuously developing his own mindset, skill set, and knowledge. His expertise brings great value to any table, whether it is funding, business development, marketing, investor relationships, or leading development teams. Tom continues to work with like-minded entrepreneurs to create, develop, and scale progressive and impactful companies all around the world. Please welcome the amazing serial entrepreneur, Tom Mays. Oh my goodness, Tom, I am so excited to have you here on the show. Thank you for coming on board.
Hey, thanks so much for having me here, Kay. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for the amazing intro too.
No worries. And so we had a conversation a while back, and you were telling me all sorts of different things that you've got yourself involved in. And I really want to kind of dig in deep with how you started all of this at such a young age. But before we do, I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you managed to build a business that you have today.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess from a young age, I was always very entrepreneurial. I looked at um just like looking at the environment that I was in, I saw people that struggled with money. I saw people that didn't struggle with money. And I always thought, like, if I were to choose one or the other, I believe it is a choice. I'm going to choose to not have money be a problem in my life. So from that decision at a very young age, I started to kind of analyze my surroundings, my environment. How does a business even work? And the one that made the most sense to me was, a grocery store. They buy in bulk and then they sell individual items. So I was like, okay, well, they have profit margins. That makes sense. And really, that's like the principle of business for everything, right? You have a service, you have a product, whatever it is, you're just looking for that profit margin. Same thing with a stock. If you buy a stock, it goes up in value, you have your profit margin. So to understanding that concept, I got into a lot of sales. I was selling dirt bikes, snowmobiles, anything in high school I could get my hands on, fireworks, whatever it was. And then I got into affiliate marketing. A couple of people saw, like, that I was hustling and selling stuff anyway. So they're like, hey, why don't you represent this company and then do some sales for them? And, you'd have a profit margin. So I did that. And then I built sales teams for those companies, and would bring on, team of, I don't know, anywhere from 3 to, I guess, 50 people was the largest team that I had. And we would sell products and then, scale up from there. So started the mindset from there. And then, I just loved investing in trading. So continued down that trail as well, and met business partners along the way and just learned step by step.
Wow. Okay, so I'm assuming here, because you started at such a young age, you're talking about high school, right? And you've tried so many different things.
Grade
That,
6, actually.
sorry, grade 6.
Grade 6 was
Okay,
when
so in UK, just for our UK listeners, what age is grade 6?
11.
11. Okay. Oh my goodness, at age 11. So where did that come from at such a young age?
Um, I would actually say a lot of it came from video games, to be honest, because in video games you would play certain video games and you could, like, buy items with money, and then your item would allow you to be stronger in the video game. And I kind of found that really interesting. Of course, I wanted to be the best in the video game, so I wanted more money so that I could buy better items. And then I was like, this is literally the same concept as real life. Like, the more tools that I can buy, whether it's a laptop, whether it's going on vacation, it's just learning how to create that currency and then being able to spend it opens up a lot of options in your life. And kind of like I mentioned before too, I'd see an uncle or aunt and they'd be really stressed out because they need a new roof on their house and it's $15,000, or it's this, that, or the other thing at a family get together. And I was just like, man, if it's a choice, I don't want to have that burden of not having enough. I'd rather have plentiful and then be able to do what I want when I want with whoever I want. So
Okay, I see now. The thing is, you started this at a young age, right? Which means that at a young age, you probably saw a lot of ups and downs on this entrepreneurial journey. And so, at a young age, didn't you ever feel like, oh my goodness, this is too hard. I'm not doing this. I'm just going to go out to play or go back to my computer games, right? Like, what kept you moving forward?
yeah, that's a great point. It was actually a game for me. It was so fun. I didn't look at it like I guess the first point where I was like, man, this really sucks. This is hard. Was I was 18 years old and I put about $26,000 into a business with a partner, and I lost all of the money. I lost like I recouped about like $8,000 over 2 years, but I pretty much lost it all. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like that was a lot of money,
Right,
you
wait, but
know.
at age of 18, where did you find that kind of money from?
I was just selling everything. I
Wow.
snowboards, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, affiliate marketing, made some good money there. I got my first job at 14. I was carrying wood in a lumber mill. So I would go to school, go to high school, and then I'd longboard home. I'd have a quick sandwich, and then I'd longboard about 10 minutes away to a lumber mill down the street from my house. And then I would carry wood every day after high school and save up my money and yeah, buy stuff and invest. Yeah.
Wow. And so I gotta ask this question because I know everyone's probably thinking, what did you invest that money in?
Mostly myself and mostly into the businesses. So whether it was going to like a leadership seminar or it was going to buy audios or books, I would also consider like I bought a snowmobile and it was $4,800, and then a year I bought it in the summertime, so it was a good deal, and then I waited till winter and I sold it. I wanted bigger margins, but I only made like $1,000 on it. So that was an investment for me, right? I would put some money into I had a financial advisor that I would put some money with there as well. But a lot of the time it was investment into my business, buying something that I could then sell at a later date. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know what? It's so funny that you're telling me about this snowmobile that you bought when every time I get on the call, you like to tease me and tell me how great, sunny, and warm it is where you are at.
I know. And I was actually so mad because I owned two snowmobiles, but I've never even ridden one, right? So I was mad
No
about that.
way.
Yeah, and the years that I had them, it literally like didn't snow at all in Vancouver. And then I sold it. And the next year we had like a foot and a half of snow on our
Oh
street. And I was like,
goodness.
damn it, I would have been ripping that thing up and around the community here. It would have been so fun.
Right. Oh my goodness. So, oh my God, I gotta start with, what kind of things did you say to yourself that, okay, if I'm gonna get serious in building and scaling a business or having several businesses, what were the first things that came to your mind that you thought, okay, I need to learn how to do these things first?
Mm. Definitely two things were super obvious. One was the mindset for sure, like being able to see the opportunities and being able to execute on them. And I think that's something that I've always been quite good at, is being like, okay, there is an opportunity here to make money, let's give it a shot, right? That's really important. You talk to a lot of people that are in their 20s or their 30s and they're like, oh, I want to be in business, but I just don't know what to do. I can't think of the idea, like I don't know what to start. And then they go to the very common things. They'll start a home, for girls really popular, like nails and lashes business, or for guys if they want to do a personal training or something like that, right? Or whatever it is, not that it's gender specific, but got to be careful with with that.
So this
um
podcast is called Uncensored Society, right? So you say it how it is.
say whatever I
You
want.
know, and if it offends people, then they're not our listeners, right? But
Right.
everyone's got to have their say, right? And
Mhm.
so we're not out there to discriminate anybody, but we're going to be telling everybody about our experiences and what we see, right?
Yeah.
So I'm totally cool with that, Tom. So just go ahead and just carry on with that.
I'm like, I don't can't offend Kay and her listeners. We got to be respectful of that. So yeah, I was just looking at opportunities. I knew I had to grow my mindset. And then the second one for me was I was extremely shy and timid, and I needed to really work on my communication skills. Like it was very
You
hard
shy
for
and timid. I do not believe that.
I get that all the time. I get that all the time.
Wow.
Like when now everywhere I go, restaurants, networking events, I talk to everybody, but I'm a natural introvert. Like I like to stay home. I don't really like to talk to people that much. I love to talk to people, but like it was so difficult. When I started my sales and affiliate marketing, I would show up to like a coffee shop or a meeting like 30 minutes early, and I would have like anxiety and cold sweats, and I would be like stressing out so hard. I'd be in the meeting having a conversation with someone, and I'd be like sweating the whole time. And I just could not get over this like limiting belief around, being super shy or timid. And now I'm talking to the boards and CEOs of multiple companies and stuff like that, so it's just been something I've really had to work through. But I had a coach and mentor, and I'd call him 20 minutes before a meeting. I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do it. And then he's like, you can do it, Tom, you've got it, you can do it, like you're gonna be fine, like just go in there and have a conversation. like and
Right.
the first 20 meetings were absolutely brutal, right? Like I had so much to work through. And so those were the two biggest things. I'm like, if I want to build a company, I need to be able to, sell, whether it's selling myself or selling a product or selling a service or selling a vision to a team of people so that they want to come and work with me. And I really started getting into personal development, reading and listening to lots of books. Over about 3 years, went through about 300 books, and researched a lot about CEOs, and they always said, being able to delegate and lead teams, communication skills is the most important skill of a successful CEO. So I knew that I really needed to work on that.
Wow, wow. And it's funny because you're telling me that how you were timid, and I'm like, the first thing I'm like, oh my goodness, he's an introvert that's been extroverted, right? through coaching and
Yeah.
just kind of self progression and all of that. And so it's totally doable, is what you're saying, as long as you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the amount of pain that I had to go through to like develop that side of myself really set me up for the future, because that like 3 years of just like agony going through that pain, I realized if I could overcome that, there's like nothing that I couldn't overcome, in combination of I was chubby kid and I started going to the gym and realized I could change my body. And then I realized that I could overcome my shyness and really become an extroverted introvert is what I am now. That was just like, wow, if I can do this, like whatever I want to do, I can do it. It's going to be painful. It's not going to be fun. But if I have, first I'm going to find someone that can encourage me and support me through that process so that I can keep doing it, and they can help me tweak my skills and improve it, tweak my mindset and improve it, and just put in the reps, the time and the effort. Then there's nothing I can't do.
Right, right. And I love that. So the very first thing that you realized you had to do was work on yourself, right? Before you did
Totally.
anything else. Wow. Okay, because a lot of people that I find just go into, all right, what do I need to do for my business? Not for
Hmm.
myself, but for my business, right? Oh, I need to
Yeah.
learn how to do sales. I need to build a team. I need to learn funnels. I need to do video marketing. All of that rather than putting themselves first. But you did it the other way around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to hear. Now, so once you kind of developed yourself and you were very comfortable in speaking with people and getting yourself out there, how did that affect the way you marketed yourself? When you kind of was really comfortable and thought, right, okay, I know what I need to be saying to people. I know what my message is. How did that come about, and what kinds of things did you do?
Yeah, great question. The number one was the relationships, like build as many relationships as I could, because I've always been like a long-term thinker. And that's also where the development came in, because if I knew I could develop me, I'm the one that builds the businesses. I'm the one that's in the relationships. I'm the one that's doing the sales calls. So, that's the most important asset. And then with developing the long-term relationships is I've always been like, if you want to make a bunch of money in 1 year, I don't really want to work with you. If you want to make a bunch of money for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, then let's build that relationship and work together, right? Because that'll monetize forever. And I've never had a hard time going into relationships that even fail, because I'm like, oh, if they fail in the first year, this is actually really good, because now I know that they're not the right fit for the next 20 or 30 years, right? So building those relationships, I've got over 1,400 phone numbers in my phone just from building those relationships, and contacts. And then that's more of like a personal relationship as far as like marketing and advertising goes. You want to get yourself out there a little bit. Podcasts are great. The services that you provide where you're able to, connect with different podcasts and help people start their podcasts. That's another hurdle that you have to overcome to be able to build the confidence to be able to do that. And it's wonderful that you're able to assist people with that. But really just speak with as many people as you can, build those relationships, build your skill set, and start to look for the opportunities within those relationships.
Now, it's really, really interesting that you said building relationships is really important, and that's what you kind of did to build your network. Now, at that time when you were building relationships, were you a one man band or did you already have a team of people? Because one of the things that I hear from people all the time is that, you're wearing all the hats in the beginning, so you don't have time to build those relationships or communicate with people or get out there, get to networking events and etc. So, what kind of methods did you use to get yourself out there, network, and build those relationships?
Hmm, great question. Um, in the beginning, when there was different phases between businesses too, right? Like one business, I close it down and I'm looking to start another one. So you've got, a 3 month or 6 month gap where you really do have more time. So really leveraging that time. And then I always just made the mental note of, even if someone on my team, say I've got a team of 10 or 15 people at the time, and someone brings me like a really amazing client, and whether they work with us or not, I'm like, wow, that individual was super interesting. They already sold this business, or they're, living in this area. It's like, I should make a mental note of that. Their energy was amazing. We got along really well. It was a really great connection. I want to keep note of that. And even if they're super successful, but I found that there wasn't really good connection there, then, hey, maybe I don't need to work with that person as much. But I really just think that's an excuse that people use to say, hey, I'm too busy, or I can't build the relationships. Like, um, because building relationships doesn't require you to go to networking events, really. Like, it could be relationships within your organization, within your team, relationships that are clients, that are potential strategic business partners or partnerships, amongst other companies, right? So yeah, I think you really just got to monitor that limiting belief, because yeah, there's relationships everywhere. I mean, I've had people work with me and for me, and those are the best relationships I've had, because I can call on Landon, Guillermo, Keenan, like all of these different awesome people where I'm like, if I start a company tomorrow, I'm hiring these guys immediately. I want them to be my partner in my next business. If they're starting a business, I want to know how I can be involved in their business, because I know how great their mindset is. I know their work ethic. We vibe so well together, right? So yeah, relationships are everywhere.
That's right. And it sounds like you've built a community of like minded people, the people that you want to keep close with you, that you can kind of shoot ideas with and, find out whether this is a good idea or whether you should be going down this route. And so, how long did it take you to build something like that?
Hmm. Um, I would say probably like that was another thing I kept in mind, was I wanted to be immersed into an environment where a lot of those relationships were. So with these like affiliate marketing companies that I was working with, they really had a lot of great masterminds and seminars that you could go to, and you could meet like-minded individuals, right? So instead of me having to, find them one-on-one, I could go into an environment with 200 people, and then I could be like, oh, I like these five, right? Like, I'd like to continue to meet these people for coffee and
Right.
really accelerate that process, and going to places that like-minded individuals would be. So that's how I really accelerated it. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Okay. And just kind of let everyone else know out there that's listening that Tom, that does never stop, right? You
No.
keep building new relationships and cultivating the ones that you have, right? And
Yeah,
so that is something that you got to keep doing as you're building and scaling your business. Even if you're at 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, you continue doing that. And
totally.
so, Tom, so if someone wants to scale their business, right, and they've done a lot of work on themselves, they're getting themselves out there, they're doing a little bit of marketing and building relationships, what kind of steps are next for those people?
Hmm. Um, like, have they started a business or not at this point?
Let's say they've started a business, but they're at the very early stages.
Okay, so there are two or three people and they're just kind of getting it off the ground.
Right.
Um, this is where I find it very difficult to kind of suggest or recommend anything because it's so specific to the individual. And when people are, when I listen to podcasts and you hear someone say like, oh, they just need to do ABC. And I'm like, well, what if that's not right? Like, what if you look at
Right.
them and you look at their specifics and their variables, and actually ABC is the opposite of what they need to do because their personality is actually inverse to what you think it's going to be, right?
Yeah,
And
interesting because you're saying that one size doesn't fit all.
yeah, exactly. 100%. It's so specific to the individual. Like, I'm a workaholic. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm an absolute workaholic. I work, before it was like 12 to 18 hours a day for the past like 10 years. And now, like, I've got a very prestigious business coach, and he tells me all the time, like, relax, slow down, be more creative, have more free time, have more fun, because it's not about putting in more time. It's actually about creating better ideas and creating better systems and, delegating more work to more people. It's not about the time that you put in, where I would listen to all these podcasts, I'd read all these books, and they're like, wake up at 5 a.m. and do this and do that. And like, just grind and work hard and work hard and work hard. And that's what I did. But it was really like the opposite of what I need to do now. Right. So whether I'm speaking about, but then there's also the lazy people who need to work more. Right. So when I hear this is what I like consult businesses for or coach people on. It's like, I can't just offer some arbitrary advice that's going to be a one fit solution in many situations. I need to figure out what are the variables, what is your business, what's your personality, what's your work ethic like, how are you managing everything? Are you a really stressed out individual, or are you really laid back and calm? Can you take on more? Do you need less? And then you can offer more advice to those individuals. But as far as someone that's starting a business, like, work on yourself, work on the mindset, because that's very, generalized and can be taken very many ways. And then find people that you can collaborate with and work well with, and then look for opportunities in the marketplace, right? If you're talking with lots of people and they're always saying, I'm missing this, then that's an opportunity for you to create a business. If you already have a business, you can create a new business vertical, which I do a lot of. It drives me nuts when I'm talking with a potential client and they're like, oh, I wish I had this. And then I'm like, well, I could do that because I know Jake over there has another business that does that. And then I could white label his solution or partner with him. And then I can help my clients with this. Or maybe I'll just refer him over to there, and then I'll, set up a referral fee kind of setup. So anytime that anybody says that they need something, ask about, how valuable is that to you to solve that problem? It's like, oh, I'd pay 20 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand for that solution. Then, that's a business right there.
Right, I love that. I love that. And you've mentioned twice now, and I want to touch on this, that you got to be able to see different opportunities in business, right? Because opportunities are everywhere, you've mentioned, right? And money is all around us, but a lot of the time we're blindsided by what it is and where it is. And so let's talk a little bit about that, because I feel like a lot of people struggle in seeing the opportunities. So what do individuals need to do, business owners need to do, to kind of get out of that rut or that block that they have?
Hmm. My business coach smacks me in the head every day with a 2x4, and he says, think outside the box, think outside the box, think outside the box, think outside the box. And
So
that's
you're saying
exactly it.
get a coach is what you're saying, because they can
That's
bring different perspectives.
that's that. Yeah, I mention my coach a lot because always had one since I was 16 years old. And whether I, paid for him directly on an hourly basis or monthly basis, or if it was, someone that had accomplished more than I had, and I'm buying them lunch or dinner and I'm just asking them questions. I have probably like probably 5 or 6 different coaches or mentors that I go to on a regular basis. One is in finance. He manages $54 million. Another one, vice president of Stanford Securities in the US back in the day. He's raised a couple billion dollars. So it's really like how I've been able to progress is I need somebody from the third party perspective that can say, okay, Tom, this is where you are. This is your businesses. These are your skill sets. Here's your strengths. Here's your weaknesses. Let's work on this. Let's work on that. And it's been, or you have a really tough time and you need some support and encouragement, or, you're going backwards. How can you fix the problem? Or you're getting egotistical and cocky and someone needs to knock you down a peg or two, right? So
Right.
I
And I totally get that, because I've got a coach as well who he's always like, get your head out of your ass. Right? And I'm like, excuse me? Right? But you need those type of coaches that are going to really push you and tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Right?
yeah,
And a lot of the times they are going to, they're disruptors. These coaches are disruptors. And so they
yeah.
will shake you up when you
Yeah.
need it.
I'll have a call with my coach for an hour and it'll be at like 10 a.m. and then I'm screwed for the rest of the day because he'll just like shift my paradigm so much. I'll be like,
Right.
I thought I had to do this. And he's like, well, Tom, what about this, that, and the other thing? And I'm like, oh my God, like that's amazing. Like that changes everything.
Yes.
Right. And
Right. And I
it's
love that. That's the thing. Like, we're gonna look for those type of coaches that are not
mhm.
afraid to tell us how it is, right? We don't want niceties. Niceties will not help us progress at the speed that we want to progress,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I'm all about that. So thanks for bringing that up. I know, Tom, at this point, people are thinking, oh my goodness, I need to find out more about what Tom does. How can I connect with him? How can I work with him? So, where can they go to reach out to you?
I keep everything simple in a central location. You can just go to tommays.com, and the 4 companies that I'm currently building will be listed there, as well as some podcasts I've been on, and contact us form. You can reach out to my assistant or whatnot, and I love to serve and see how I can be of assistance to whoever it is. So love to have a conversation and see how we can help.
Fantastic. This has been a really fun episode for me. Thank you for coming on board. So many golden nuggets. Um, totally epic. Love this episode.
Thank you so much, Kay. I really, really appreciate you having me on the show and love your podcast. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.